Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to another recording session, live stream of Hearthstone. Today is March 31st and I had to really get this done. Not only am I totally full of news stories, but I need to hurry up and finish because it's starting to turn into April 1st. And April 1st is a horrible day to try to get any news done, news and information on the internet, because people like to lie. Or April Fools. We trade that out. We've got 180 gold to earn today. We need to win 5 games with the Hunter and Mage, play 50 Shaman cards, and win 5 games with the Paladin and Warrior. And because of the daily login, I have a card pack that I can open right now. So let's start with that. I'll probably get at least one more card pack. It seems pretty certain now that April 9th is the day that a Journey to Unguru is actually going to come about. So that means that either I'm going to spend all of April 9th from the point when I wake up to probably well into the morning of April 10th recording videos, or maybe I can break it in half and maybe on April 1st or April 2nd they'll let us look at the cards and I can make some videos that day too. We're gonna get another pack that we can't open until April. The party is here, work together with another player to decorate the tavern and kick off the new year of Hearthstone. What's interesting about the new year in Hearthstone is it seems to be not related to any new year I know of. Like, we're kind of close to Easter. Is that Jewish New Year? Like, that's the only thing I could think of as far as a new year is that. Let's see, I didn't pick my cards. I guess I'll play this. And your opponent casts a spell, add a coin to your hand. Yeah, I'll just hold on to. We'll get rid of this one and keep everything else. Use your hero power to decorate the tavern with the other player. Let's see. So I don't know. Create 1 decoration for the tavern. Progress 1 of 25. Wait a minute. I don't understand. So I guess I'm supposed to just do this. And I guess it's gonna potentially increase the cost of this every time. So you're talking 25 compounded. It's going to be very expensive, but I mean, how can you increase the competition? Watch out, those guys are trying to crash the party. Get rid of them. Alright, how about we do this? And why did that turn over? You can't control how this minion attacks. Let's try that.
My thanks to you.
And like, apparently I can't use the decorate. Or even if I use the coin, I have no idea what I'm doing here. The pie crasher left my hand. Interesting. Well, they certainly are doing something different here, at least as far as the Tavern Brawl. It's something new and interesting. I was watching what is it? Co-optional by Total Biscuit, and like he talked about this very anime card game that caught my attention, so I may look at that as a replacement for Hearthstone if I can ever convince people to replace Hearthstone. So do I want to do this? Well, this would create 4 decorations. But instead, let's do this.
That's not a valid target.
Alright, how about this then? This. This.
Job's done.
And then end the turn and see what happens. I guess I could play this and this would fill up my deck, and I think that's exactly what we need to get to. Oh, so I could have played the coin. Deal 4 damage. Alright, return an enemy to his hand. And then shuffle this. And then I've got to do something like this.
Job's done.
Trust me.
So the idea here is we're trying to get rid of these party crashers before we can even get to this, because although I could have made progress easily now, like in 2 turns at 10 mana I can win. Let's see if you have
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
Someone's spectating me, that's cool. Maybe they've got to watch and learn, maybe they just want to spectate me. Alright. This one.
Effects? No. Trust me.
And I'll just go ahead and play this. What's cool about this hero power, and I wish I'd see more of it, frankly,
This might sting.
is I really kind of wish we had more of a case of. Let's go ahead and just kill this. Although I don't know really why. The idea of having a hero ability that gets more powerful each turn is interesting. And I kind of wish there was more of that going on. See, he's not attacking me. And that's not super helpful, because I kind of need him to attack me. And I'm hoping this party crasher has to hit this party crasher right now, because I don't have anything else I can really do. I probably, unless I draw a card that is really useful,
Time waits for no one.
probably I'm just going to do 7 party decorations. We've got a lot to cover today and a lot of things we need to do today, so it may very easily turn into another like 4-episode recording session, which I guess now that there is this live streaming aspect to it, it doesn't really matter. So I guess I'm not really too upset about that. And so ambush. Alright. I don't want to die here. I don't really have a reason to kill that one. Let's
This
this. And let's leave it. And then play one of these.
Choose soon.
And then just end the turn and see what happens. Nope, the party crashers just ignore taunt. Alright, so that's no good. So we need to just kind of win. So if he just used his decorate ability for 9 and I just used mine for 8, I'd be good with that. Because even though I kind of like this hero ability, it's not doing anything helpful. It might be the only way I could see you could actually have a hero ability like this that would make sense is if you had it where use that amount of mana to draw that many number of cards, and so you could draw cards, but by drawing cards you
Waits for no one.
you are closer to running out of cards because of that. There you go. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this, and then we'll do that. And go and attack this one, and that one, and then end the turn. We did it. Time to hit the pinata. Build. The party crashers are getting out of hand. Can't be targeted by spells. It's full of candy. So this thing has like 85 health and 5 damage. And it's a boss class at 10 mana. This is insane, the amount of damage it has. I didn't know this was part of the puzzle. Well, for 2 mana I can do 3 damage to the pinata. Let's see. So he's got 10 armor there. What else can we do? And somehow I just got 7 health out of that too. I don't know how. Right. We'll play this. And we'll play this. And I don't think this thing's gonna pelt me. So let's get rid of it. What was that card? Did 2 damage to everybody for some reason. This is crazy. So we've really got to work here. Choose one. Destroy a random party crasher. Each player draws a card. I will destroy Oops, nope, that's not what I meant to do.
Hey pal, Trade Prince Gallowix here.
Whether your opponent casts a spell, whenever your opponent casts a spell. There we go. Let's see. I gotta protect myself a little bit here. So I'll do this. And then the turn. This is quite the puzzle, and I'm so focused on this that I haven't even begun on the news. There's so much news, and some of it I hope it's all real too. That with April Fool's Day coming about, like if I was live streaming this on April 1st, I might as well just not cover any news from that day. I'll have to remember that for next year. I'm not a fan of April Fool's Day at all, particularly on the internet. They've gotten ridiculous, but it's a dumb idea. It's a dumb holiday. There's a silly thought in the first place. It has like no history to it as far as I can tell. There you go. You play bananas. I'll play this. And do this. And I could hit him once. But I don't know if that's enough.
My hand is too full.
He's got too many cards. So my strategy of trying to fill up the deck probably wouldn't have worked. And I imagine if it had, there would have been some trick to it. So you just power up your guys and take this guy out. Play another banana.
Where's my cat?
Let's see, this should work pretty well. Because he should be giving me a coin. No, he's not.
Time waits for no one.
Should have destroyed a random party goer. Alright. Destroy a random party crasher. Attack this guy. Attach this guy. Restore 3 health this way. Do this. And
Well played.
let's do this.
I'm gonna downsize.
So we destroy them. Resurrection Cookie restores 4 health to each. Success. Thanks for celebrating the Year of the Mammoth with us. So that was a really weird one. Is that just game over? Doesn't even play the audio. Well, there's literally no reason to ever want to play that one again. And hopefully the watch and learn quest counts towards that. And we have 3 of those packs that we can't open. We're over 9,000 now. So the most difficult things that we're going to have to do here is we have no overlap. So we need 5 games with Paladin and Warrior. We need 5 games with Hunter and Mage. And we need 50 Shaman class cards. So let's start with Hunter on casual. So secrets or beasts? Secrets or beasts? Let's play beasts. and we can now just start to play regular on casual, and we can start to go through all of this news. A lot of news. I guess the biggest thing by far that I can say has been happening in my life, and thus is probably the biggest news to me, is the fact that, to make a long story short, I managed to burn myself chemically. Not horribly, not anything that would scar, but what you might call a very bad sunburn equivalent. And I've just been in so much pain for the past 2 days. I've barely, just last night, started recording some more of Broken Sword 4. Otherwise, I've done nothing. Which is not something I particularly want to have happen in my life. I never want to stop working until I feel like I have a significant number of recordings scheduled and ready to go ahead. Now, compared to the live streams, like, it's kind of silly that I even care about that, but I do want to keep some consistency there. And I could get further ahead, certainly, by cutting back 1 or 2 time slots and saving time that way. But I only, right now, am around a little bit past Mother's Day in 1 time slot, so 2, maybe 3 months at most ahead, which is what I've been very consistently 3 months ahead, and then I fell behind that curve after playing. Probably Honey Pop is a great extra game I put into an extra time slot that took up time, but there have been other reasons, and there's other factors, most definitely, where it feels like you're like, some games I just don't want to play that much, and it's really hard to motivate me. Some games I want to play in marathon. My chair issues of just having an uncomfortable chair makes it difficult to want to stay sitting for long periods of time, and that, even with the new chair, isn't fully fixed. Like, I'm still trying solutions, and it's better, but it's still not really working. And so, on top of just normal problems, insomnia being a big issue too, working on, I got a new router. It was time to upgrade a router, and that router has been giving me trouble because I installed DDWRT on my router, and the newest Linksys that they support has this tri-stream technology that has like a Bluetooth chip that can do Bluetooth and 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz signals, and unfortunately the DDWRT open source software just doesn't really handle it at all. It seems to me that that it doesn't work at all, but I can't get it to work, and it certainly only works in like AC mode instead of a mix mode to do like 802.11b or G or N. I don't think any of that works, because when I was trying that, it was creating in constant transmission errors, and so a lot of settings. One of the other of the 3 Wi-Fi antenna connections internally, one of the chips only worked in a certain mode too, in similar ways, where it could only do AC and N mixed. It couldn't do anything older, and if it did, it seemed to lose internet connectivity on my cell phones just at random times, which is unacceptable. So a lot of learning, a lot more features compared to my old router. My old router's probably 6-7 years old, if not even older. So it's been a long time. I got my money out of it, certainly, but definitely time to upgrade to something more. I think it was at best it was a in router, not an AC router, and now I have an AC 3200. I have the Linksys, I think 3200 something ACM router, which should last me for a while, and hopefully DDWRT upgrades their software and they can use that tri-stream technology. I don't know if they're ever actually going to adapt to Bluetooth, but the wireless part of the wireless router wasn't even the part that really needed to be upgraded. What this upgrades is, since my house is wired with network cable, now I can connect everything at a gigabit speed, hopefully, although I do have a couple of repeaters behind all of those, so actually I haven't tested and checked. I keep trying to spend the least amount of time on that project and upgrading it. Ideally, this thing would have just been easy to plug in and copy the settings over and be done with it. I even thought about not putting the open source DDWRT software on it at all and just use the default Linksys software, which looked like a mess. Like, the very first thing it does is it asks you to create a Linksys account, and that's exactly the opposite of what you want to do, is have all your settings saved in the cloud somewhere that get hacked. Let's see. So yeah, that wasn't gonna work. I looked at all the options here. I'm about to lose anyways. But yeah, just default settings practically. Like, a default Linksys software has probably about 50 different things you can toggle on or off, and with no advanced options, where the DDWRT software has well over 300-400 settings of network stuff, all extremely complicated network things that I don't understand half of them myself. Turns out, like, my wireless security was TKIP plus AES, and it turns out that TKIP in the time has become cracked and is no longer considered secure. So often most of the settings that you can turn on, you don't want to turn on routers these days, it seems, for the danger of having less secure things. That's certainly true on web servers too. Is like, you want the highest security protocol, and then you want to say we reject everything below that protocol, but then you'll get a bunch of people running Internet Explorer on a Windows XP machine and they won't be able to connect to your website. So it's a delicate balancing act there. So yeah, apparently TKIP was not secure, and so I'm turning off old features like that and just using AES. And you'd think TKIP plus AES, to me, mentally sounds like, oh, so you have both of those running at the same time, therefore it will be twice as secure. No, that's not the case, apparently. This was a stupid move on my part. I should have attacked first before summoning anything. This guy's name is just Tim. Can't think of anything more original than that. Okay. Well, for all I know, this is a 6-year-old playing me, so
Don't mess with
That might very well be the case. So a lot of work went into that and distracted me, which is the whole thing about my server, which I got it back up and running finally, but it's not configured and most things aren't running after I had to just format the SSD that wore itself out. Well, no, actually not format the SSD that wore itself out. Remove the SSD that was physically damaged from wear and tear and replace it with a new install. And that wasn't a smooth experience either. That wasted a lot of extra time. And see, I've really... Every time I do any IT stuff these days, it's like, boy, do I never want to do IT stuff again. And that's very strange coming from me because I used to love computers and all that stuff. And now it's just become frustration. And it's this weird scenario where you're just always not happy with what you're doing. So in the idea of a job in IT, you're almost certainly going to end up doing some level of customer service to start off with, and even when you're not starting, you're still going to end up doing some weird amount of customer service that you wish you weren't doing, and you never really get around it. And inherently that's the problem, is people want to take IT jobs to not deal with people, and the jobs inherently turn around to dealing with people more than anything else, because people are the worst part of the infrastructure. Unless you can get like a job at a server where all you do all day is replace hard drives that have worn out of hard drive, and I imagine there was some reason why that would not be super fun either. Darn it, I was one short. Let's do this, this, and this, and then the turn.
Well played.
So yeah, I do need to double check to see if I'm getting gigabit wired connections, because that was one of the main reasons to get the router. And there's some other functions, just more RAM in it. It has an external SATA connector and I should have played this. Oops. I would have won. So now I've got to figure out, can I survive this? No. I would have won. I cannot believe that.
Job's done.
I would have won if I had played this. That clearly is my fault on this one. Yeah. Internal faster networking means that when Sunday rolls around and my computer tries to back up to the server through Windows backup, that should happen like 10 times faster. And see, so if it happens 10 times faster, then it should be done before I even wake up on Monday, versus what's been happening recently is it's halfway done by the time I wake up on Monday. It's probably not exactly 10 times faster. It's probably somewhere closer to 5 times faster, but that's still, even if it was twice as faster, then it would get it done, instead of me inherently having problems with trying to stream and the network bandwidth getting sucked up because of Windows backup. And let's see what other features showed me. The 2 external USB and a lot of functions that my server does right now seem like they could easily have been set up and more automated by just plugging a hard drive directly into this new router. I'm even considering with the FCC privacy rules that were supposed to be implemented and then got voted down so they wouldn't get implemented. So they were never actually in, as far as I understand it, in force, but the internet companies were working towards following those rules. But now that they've been voted down, the idea of doing a VPN is a thought, at least. But one middle ground suggestion I would say there is you can use Chrome, or I think you can use Opera or Firefox too. I think their plugin is available for all of them. Maybe even Internet Explorer. Here, I did that wrong again. But if you use the plugin HTTPS everywhere, at the very least, then the only thing that that the internet people will know is when you look up the domain name. So if you're going to www.google.com, they'll be able to see that. But if you connect to a HTTPS, a secure connection, from that point on, and if you Google something and go to that site, there's maybe, I don't know. That's an interesting question. If I click on a link, I guess I then have to look up the domain name again to that site. But it wouldn't know exactly what I'm searching on Google.
Do you have the
to try to solve this bad comparison. So if you spend an hour on Google searching things and never click on any other link, theoretically, unless they're cracking the HTTPS protocol, which can be done, but I'm not sure that they're really doing that. They would just know that you went to Google. And then I assume if you click on a link on Google and it takes you to Facebook, then they know you'd go to Facebook as long as you're connected to Facebook on HTTPS. Then they won't know what you're posting or looking at or reading. Now, if you're not doing HTTPS, and that's where this plugin really helps, is it's designed specifically to help push you to be on HTTPS on everything that you can be. If you're just doing regular HTTP, then you're showing every single thing. It's like every single bit of data, what you're reading on Facebook, what you're posting on Facebook, how long you are on Facebook. All of that is unencoded through the internet. And so there's a major improvement in security just by having that plugin and making sure you always have the lock in the top left hand corner, and that's still not the greatest ever, but it doesn't require you to be super technical either. You don't have to install DDWRT on a compatible router and then set up some kind of VPN service that would probably cost you some money, and then figure out like all the little issues of doing that, such as like, can I watch Netflix on here without doing a bunch of extra work, or is that is that kind of a problem, or can I stream or live stream games, or is the VPN going to reduce my internet traffic speed so much that it's going to be a problem? My internet's not very fast and it costs way too much already, so I'm crossing my fingers that one day somebody like Google will save me and give me a nice gigabit up and down speed, or at least 100 megabits per second up and down. I get 65 megabits down and 5 megabits up, and it's really the 5 megabits up that's killing me more than even the download. I don't particularly run into downloads that are too bad. I stream and watch YouTube at 1080p 60 all day. Not an issue, really. It would be an issue if there were more people on my internet, I guess. If we started having 2 or 3 people using the internet as much as I do, then yes, that would be an issue. But the next level up, I probably would only give me like 10 megabits up and 100 megabits down. It'd probably just slightly be less than doubling what I have for $30 to $60 extra a month, and it's just too expensive. And that's why that Google fiber stuff was very appealing, and seemed like it had at least a slight chance on being implemented, whereas the Verizon Fios never had a chance to be implemented because they never, for an instance, really intended for it to be implemented. That just recently I saw a news article where New York is suing Verizon for not installing Fios in thousands of homes that they were supposed to do years ago. But moving off the technology talk, let's start going on the video games. This is about video games, and while I may have a couple of other things to talk about technology on, it's like there's this Kalos, let's see, C-A-L-Y-O-S Kickstarter going on for a fanless phase change computer case, which is an interesting idea. I'm not sure it's gonna work or not, though. But if I could get a computer case like that has no fans, no pumps, and no heating or cooling requirement, that would be great. The solutions when you're trying to make a computer that's quiet are very limited, because you would think liquid cooling is quieter. It's not, actually. It requires a bigger, more noisy fan to cool off a larger radiator. So liquid cooling is really only for people that want to overclock and run their PCs even hotter than they should. So your best bet is to go with fan cooling, and fan cooling with a giant passive radiator maybe would work, but there's risks. If you just use a passive radiator, it won't cool your system enough. These days you don't get CPUs or GPUs that have passive cooling, so they just don't work that way. So that's not really a way either. So with the phase change, there's some kind of item, I would imagine, something like a Freon that isn't an air conditioner, that's being piped through the CPU block, and you would have to connect the GPU block if you want to do that too, like a liquid cooling, except for it's kind of more like a radiator system, where I would assume whatever liquid it is, and when it gets hot, it moves away from the CPU by itself, because there's no pumps involved, it says. So I'm not really sure. Phase change to me means it probably boils away and turns into a gas inside the pipe, and then the gas floats away from the heat thing, while the colder liquid stays near it, and thus it carries the heat away in a somewhat efficient system. This has not worked very well so far as far as trying to get victories, and this is inherently I'm saying inherently way too often, I know. This is what happens. This is definitely what happens with Hearthstone, is when you get these quests that you need to win. And I know I gave myself all of these quests because I've traded all 3 of the daily quests to get to 60s. And to get to 60 gold, I know I put myself in a more difficult situation than I could have been in. I'm just going to do that. And so on top of this phase change, in front of the phase change system is this giant radiator. And if it's like an air conditioner, that means it's going to take the humidity out of the air. And if it takes the humidity out of the air, that means it's going to...
I don't have enough mana.
It's going to collect moisture at the bottom of it. Almost certain. And so that's a big concern. So I definitely am going to have my eyes out from that, but I don't suspect I would buy it anytime soon. I probably have really no reason to buy it right now anyways. The other factors, there's some other Kickstarter things. Like there was this Android pocket watch that was announced a couple of years ago. I just checked on that. Still hasn't delivered. There's a newer e-ink that uses way more colors. The color e-ink screen on the Pebble Time 2 or whatever the most recent Pebble was before that company went out of business. That one could only do about 4,000 colors. The new technology can do like 32,000 colors. So you're talking a lot more colors for a much better scene. Unfortunately, that screen right now has only been scaled to 160 by 160 pixels per inch, which is too low of a ratio for small screens such as a nice e-book reader, which frankly I know every year they come out with a new Kindle, but they're not gonna make any major upgrades in my mind until they can get a new Kindle with a color screen that's e-ink and lasts for weeks on battery. Or I mean, it doesn't have to be e-ink. If they can figure out how to have it like a Samsung always on screen that they last for weeks because it's just a really low refresh rate, which seems like what the technology is starting to work towards. That might not be too much of a problem.
What now?
But I still think there's probably a big difference in the amount of electricity a color regular LED takes versus what a color e-ink screen would take. And that would be nice to do it. There was even this like black and white e-ink USB screen on sale, but seems like it doesn't work very well, and it runs off USB instead of just like a DVI or an HDMI input, and it's very, very expensive. Selling itself as something that you would want if you have eye strain, which maybe, like, yeah, I can imagine a lot of old people with poor eyesight might want to trade a regular screen to just a black and white screen that looks like paper and acts like a Kindle does. So yeah, I'm looking for a nice Android watch / pocket watch. Ideally, I think I'd like the pocket watch idea so you could cram more stuff into it and have a more powerful device. And I'm looking for a new e-reader to replace my tablet, or which might work for me as long as it can do just a few things more than what I need it to do. I guess I'm looking at the timer here, and I guess we have enough time to do one more, but Let's try to get at least one win here. Yeah, not making a lot of progress. Haven't really covered anything on the news yet, and there's so much news. I covered a couple things, but that was it. I don't know what happened here with the news. Well, let's see. Can I make a 5-minute rant about that? No, not really. But let's go ahead and mention it anyways. Somebody, and when I say somebody, I'm thinking to myself, some idiot let Jim Sterling into Valve. So, like, Jim Sterling went for some interviews. Valve is taking a very new approach. Something we've never seen before. I've never seen in my short time of paying very close attention to Valve in the past couple of years since I started playing PC games. Otherwise, I wouldn't have paid much attention to Valve at all, other than their releases of their games, which in the past couple of years haven't been any. So, like, I imagine he's gonna talk about it, and this is gonna prove me to be totally wrong, but my guess is he was allowed to come / invited in the same way that that as an interviewer, as a person of the news media, more than he was invited to share his feelings or talk on some kind of lawsuit thing as people are with the whole digital homicide thing, which seems to now be out of the picture. They certainly made sure not to interact with him during the lawsuit, which is the right move on their part, definitely. And maybe now that he's won, they can say, well, we were officially behind him all along. I don't know what he really adds, frankly, as the character Jim Sterling, as the real person who is, in my opinion, isn't that different from the character Jim Sterling. I don't know what he really could add or include to the conversations that are happening at Valve. All he does on his channel is he highlights a few Steam Greenlight games that are worth looking at, which they're few and far between and hard to find. And so I don't really blame him and think that he's just inherently going negative. It's just that Steam Greenlight is full of garbage, and Steam itself is growingly full of garbage. So, like, from that perspective, like, he's not really doing anything. And then his main thing is he points out asset flips and bad Steam Greenlight games, and who knows if they're getting voted for in the first place, or if he just gives attention to things that don't matter. That's kind of what the whole YouTube advertising and YouTube drama in general always seems like, is, are they just giving a voice to something that doesn't really exist, or are they actually talking about something that's important to new that's happening in YouTube? And the most recent one of that issues is because it seems, best I can figure it, because the media convinced 200 companies to withdraw their advertising from YouTube, which honestly, I think this is probably just due to a bad economy, and they're making an excuse for something that they were going to do anyways, and it's just for the new year. It does seem like, in my opinion, and people are going to argue with this. It does seem like that YouTube just doesn't have as many ads as it used to. A lot of videos that I'm seeing these days are running without ads at all. And I don't ad block or anything, so I should be seeing the ads. I don't have YouTube Red.
A demo.
As a creator, ironically, I shouldn't have YouTube Red because I want to see if the ads are actually playing. And a lot of people are also attributing this to YouTube's guidelines, which I'm not sure they really updated their advertising guidelines at all. It's just that this is probably H3 complaining about it again. And it's the same people over and over again that bring this YouTube drama back up, and people buy it like it's the truth every time, and frankly at this point I don't think it is. I think the truth lies somewhere in the middle. So they're gonna say, H3 says that it's because a lot of the channel's videos have just been deemed not advertiser friendly. Now, as a YouTube creator myself, I have never gotten an email on any of my things saying that my videos are not advertiser friendly and thus monetization will be turned off. But I certainly have seen many of my videos play without an ad in front of them, which to me, as I translate it and as I try to be fair, and I'm always feeling like I'm being more fair than anybody else to YouTube, probably more than they deserve quite a bit, but I guess I have to be the contrarian here and say I think they just don't have ads to put on all the videos. And so the algorithm is desperately spreading out the ads that have been purchased to play on it, and everybody else is getting a break. And the big channels are saying that they're losing ad revenue. And in my case, while ads seem like they're playing less, my ad revenue is higher than ever. Higher than ever. Is that because I've been live streaming? Probably. Almost certainly. Finally, I got a victory. Let's do one more game. So I can't confirm what they're saying, which is very consistently. And there's a lot of confusion. There's I think the idea that if your videos are showing up in restricted mode, that they're not getting advertised on, and as far as I can tell, that's not the case, but there is a somewhat legitimate concern that that might become the case. But inherently, I think Google would negotiate for higher rates per view if they start to do something on I don't even have a random beast in my hand. If they started doing something to their content and filtering it. If they're gonna say the only thing we're advertising on is gonna be family friendly content, then they're gonna say, well, now that we're having to spend all this extra effort to find out if the content is family friendly or not, we are now going to charge you twice as much per view. So clicks, views per million, or views per million, or whatever. All of that would go up, and I would hope Google would negotiate for that. And this all is based on just media stories that were created by the media, because the media is also buying ads from those same advertisers, so they've tricked and manipulated the advertising companies into believing things that really aren't that true. See, what they've made is the argument that say Johnson & Johnson's products ads were running in front of some like KKK meeting on YouTube, And frankly, while that may have happened, the number of people that would have seen a video of a KKK meeting would have been so low that it's insignificant, and very possibly never has happened. I've never seen a video where somebody said, look at this advertisement that ran right before this horrible video. And if there are KKK meetings on YouTube, then they're supposed to be flagged, they're supposed to be taken off as hate speech. And I don't think very many people would complain or be upset about that. But maybe it would be left on there for educational purposes, and inherently, as I keep using that word, I don't really feel like I want advertisers becoming the de facto censors of YouTube. I really don't. So it may very well get down to the point where YouTube just goes paid only. It's highly unlikely that would happen anytime soon, but it might eventually happen. And then from that pay service only, then we could be something more like HBO. Not that HBO is particularly succeeding well. But I think those advertisers are going to come crawling back, and at the end of their financial quarters, because they're going to see that they're not getting anywhere as many clicks as possible. Inherently, the advertisements, I keep using that word, man, I love to use that word. It's such a vocal trick. At least it's not cussing, but I mean, advertising is a process to get people to click and get people to see your videos, your advertisements. When people start seeing their sales go down even more, which most sales right now are going down. Brexit's a big issue. The beginning of the year is a big issue. People spend way too much on Christmas, and there's very little spending in the first quarter. Businesses, as much as individuals, spend way too much in the fourth quarter. They pay out bonuses and things at the end of the year, usually. So, like, there's several stories here, if I can find them. Like so money's just tight in general, and because of that, it's unsurprising that we lost a little bit of the ad revs, but it would have been nice if we hadn't lost as much as we did. At least that's my opinion. That's what I think is going on, and I think it's going to fix itself. YouTube has always been this roller coaster, and people that say that YouTube is dying are just wrong. It's the same. It's usually the people that have been around for 10 years and no. Now, I will say trying to be new at YouTube is probably a lot harder, and there's some issues there, definitely, but YouTube's not dying. Advertising revenue for the big guys might be down. This might very well just be because of newer algorithms no longer suggesting the big guys over and over again, and that might very well also be the reason why my channel, which only has 130 plus subscribers, is getting more views and more subscribers. That, and possibly Lego Batman the movie, is helping me quite a bit. It seems like that video in itself is getting 500 views every week now, which is quite a lot. which is nice. It would be nice to be known as the guy who did Lego Batman versus the guy who did one Hearthstone deck tracker how-to video and some Kerbal Space Program tutorials with terrible audio, because those are the biggest videos I have right now, and I'm not going to overpass the Hearthstone deck tracker how-to video probably anytime soon. But if I had more videos that got very, very high views that brought in people to watch the other series, that would be very nice. Some series very much, though, is still not doing any views at all. Like entire series, 30, 40 episodes of something not getting views at all. But inherently, I'm hoping it builds my channel, and because I'm hoping it builds my channel, people will at some point get recommended to go back and look at old things or catch up, which there's a lot to catch up to. I might be approaching a level of ridiculousness where maybe I'll just have too many videos on my channel, but I can't really go towards that idea because there's just so many more video games to play, so I can't really do anything about that. Alright, let me look now at the timer. Let's see. What is going on with this timer? Oh, I see what I did. Oh, darn it. I have no idea how long I've been going then. Let's see. Let's go to the OBS remote. Oh, we've been going an hour and 8 minutes. Wow. Well, that is weird, but not too big of an issue. I set the timer on my clock on my phone, which I'm not sure how to use, obviously, to 25 hours instead of 25 minutes. So that's going to be it for this recording. No way to really break this up any other way. And the live stream will continue because we still got a lot of stuff to do. So as always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.